So if I can speak on the one subject, and it's about submission to the ego, which really is ultimately submission to like your soul, and I guess the importance of honesty. I feel every now and then I have to be like very honest with myself, and I have to just submit to my emotions, how I feel about everything, even if they're not necessarily good, and it's kind of not what I'm trying to show off to the world or even just to my people that's around me. Like I have to strip it down to like the most raw so it could ever be, and it's really like a lot of anger and there's a lot of pain and there's a lot of suffering there. I could be honest with y'all, like, and I just get to it straight, and that's the only way that anybody can live. I guess me as a person, I want to live my life to the fullest. I don't want to ever feel like I am holding things back from people. Uh, I want to get to the point where I can just be honest with people and they kind of just feel. I don't know. I think on a spiritual level, I want people to feel my soul. I want to walk around and people feel that I'm there and I'm being honest with them and they can respect me and take whatever I say, whether it's good or negative, but they know it's real. And I guess it's really just a call for authenticity for myself is that I want to really be there for people and like my spirit and my soul. I want my spirit and soul to be there for them. And I guess the only way for that to happen is for me to be honest and super honest with myself. And that's one thing I try not to do the most. It was a certain point in time where I was lying to myself, and that's one of the worst things you can do is lie to yourself because you start to believe them and you start to really become so deluded that you're not in reality anymore. You're in this fake fantasy world that's not connected to reality and it's not like it's real. And so when that delusion falls, it's like you coming off a high off a good ass drug, and that's the worst. And I don't think anybody should really experience that. And that's probably how crackheads feel when they keep trying to chase the high. Like, and it's just not good. So I had to realize that me being honest and raw with myself was the only way that I would ever reach kind of like my destiny and my goal and my purpose. So I had to be honest, right? And that's crazy. Honesty, like they say, honesty is the best policy. That shit is. You realize that sometimes things don't work out when you be honest, but in the long run, it does, right? And that's just the moral thing to do for people when you be honest and you allow people the choice to choose, and you give people their own free will when you be honest. You give them an option to choose something and not be so, you know, deceitful. And I guess that's kind of the way that how I live my life. I try not to be, deceitful, and I don't want a lot of people because I wouldn't want nobody lying to me and just being deceitful with me. So I try to be. I do my best in being honest as I can. Um, but yeah, it takes you submitting to your ego. It takes you really being strong and having the courage enough to look at yourself for what you are, what you really are. You know, maybe you got a lust problem. Like I know I got a lust problem. I'm just gonna be honest. I got a problem with lust. I got a problem with. I got a fear. I got a fear of taking a chance. I got a fear because I really don't know what I can do with my life. I know that, and that fear kind of triggered down to like my communication. So at many times I have a hard time communicating, and that fear allows me to stay in my comfort zone with communicating with people. So I don't have to learn how to communicate with people because I'm comfortable with only talking to myself or only talking to a couple people. But that fear and all these things that you kind of hide from yourself, and you have to come face to face with it. You have to submit yourself into it and stare it in the face and be honest with yourself, right? That without that honesty, you won't ever reach the next, the level that you're supposed to be at. And that's kind of one of the hardest things I ever had to realize. And that's kind of like a message I try to push to people is that you got to be willing to like die. You got to be willing to really like sacrifice yourself to become a newer person. And if you're not willing to accept yourself for what you have and what you are and what you have been, you cannot accept what you are going to become and just the possibilities of what you will become. So, yeah, just submitting to that self. No matter how scary it is, how scary you may perceive it to be, just allow yourself to fall into it. Right? I think the universe breaks us down to build us back up stronger. So if you are not allowing yourself to be destroyed, if you're not allowing yourself to fail or make mistakes, you won't ever really learn nothing, right? Some people be scared to look like a fool, and it's like you're gonna look like a fool for a second, but it's some people that's gonna look like a fool for the rest of their life. So it's like you really got to make a decision about which type of fool you really want to be. So yeah, just allow yourself that comfort. Allow yourself, give yourself permission to be vulnerable enough to accept that negative aspect of yourself, that dark aspect of yourself that you kind of shun, because that dark aspect of yourself often times, holds the key to your future. And if you don't understand that, you will remain in the same position the rest of your life. So submitting to that lower aspect of yourself in terms of just getting to understand it, in terms of getting to know it. I'm not saying you should act as through your ego and your egoic pleasures, right? Because it is a difference. If I'm being honest, I wouldn't even say submitting to your ego, but kind of submitting to your soul and what your soul kind of reflects. Even though your soul reflects God, it reflects your human aspects too, your flawed aspects as well. So all in all, the message, do not shun anything, accept it all, have enough courage to see it for what it is, learn from it, and keep moving forward. So yeah, thank y'all.